Hey everyone, welcome back to Rather Be Visin. My name's Sam and today I've got another top Tableau tip for you. So, as you know, Tableau has lots of colour schemes that are built in, but sometimes you might want to add your own. There might be colours that you use all the time, and rather than having to repeatedly enter in the hex codes for them, you want to be able to easily select them from a colour palette. But the good news is, really straightforward to add in custom colour palettes into Tableau. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So first thing we're going to do is hop over to the Tableau website where there's a brilliant article about how to go about doing this. So here we are on Tableau. I'll put a link to this in the description below. And this sort of runs you through how you add in these custom color palettes. It's all about editing your preferences file, so you can open this in Notepad and add in the color palettes. And so this details exactly how you can go about doing it. And I'll show you as well as we go through this. So the first thing that you need to do really is find out what colors you want to include. So there's a brilliant website, Coolors.co, where you can find sort of color palettes of 5 colors and you can build your own. This is a really good resource for being able to find good colors that you want to use within your dashboard. So if you know you've got a theme going on, you can find some through here. So I'm just going to click on Start the Generator here and it's going to give me 5 colors that work well together. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to add them into my preferences file. So let's hop over into our preferences and see how we can add these as a color palette. So the first thing we need to do is find our preferences file. So here I am in my documents folder, and here I've got my Tableau repository. And if I open that one up, I've then got this file called preferences. It's already got the little Notepad logo next to it because I've told it to open this type of file with Notepad. If you don't have that, when you double click it, it'll give you an option to open within Notepad. So let's open this up and get into adding our color palette. Okay, so here's my preferences file, and at the moment you can see I've just got a workbook and then closing brackets for workbook as well. So the first thing I need to do in here is put in the same thing that we've got for workbook but for preferences. Now I am terrible at spelling, so I'm just going to copy and paste that from the Tableau site. So now here we've got the starting blocks of how to add in a color palette. So now what we need to do is put in our preferences for what color palette we want. So the first thing we're going to do is add in a line to say what our color palette name is going to be and what type of color palette it is. So I'm just going to put in a regular one, so a categorical color scheme, so I can pick each of my categories being a different color. So again, I'm going to copy and paste this from the Tableau site so that you don't hear my clicking keyboard. But I'm going to change the name to be my cool colors. And the type, I'm going to put regular. Now, if you're doing a sequential color scheme, then you'd put sequential, and if you're doing a divergent, then you'd put a divergent. So regular is the one where you have all the colors that you can pick from. Sequential is when it's counting up numbers, so maybe you're looking at like sales from 0 to 1 million and you want it to move through a color scheme. And then divergent is when you have 2 colors at either end and they sort of merge into one another as your values go from lowest to highest or from negative to positive. So once we've got our first line in here, what we need to do is enter in our colors. So we start off with opening a triangular bracket and putting in color. And it is the American spelling, so just keep an eye out for that. And then what we do is we take the hex code from our colors that we've picked and we put that next. So I'm going to go back over to my greens and I'm going to copy that, put that in, and then end that with a /color. Almost got caught out by a spelling there. So I'm just going to repeat that for the other 5 or the other 4 colors, and then we'll have a look at what that looks like in Tableau. Okay, so there we have it. I've added in those 4 additional colors. I've then finished off the opening of my color palette with a closing section for color palette. So now I can save this preferences file, I can open up Tableau and I can show you what it looks like. So let's do that now. Okay, so here I am in Tableau. I'm just going to open up the classic EU Superstore. Let me bring in my sales onto rows, and then we'll bring in our month of order date onto our columns. Let's switch this around to being a bar chart again. I've gone for week rather than month there. And then I'm going to bring in my product category onto color. And you can see we've got the Tableau standard 3 colours, so our blue, our orange and our red. So now if we come over to our legend over here and select edit colours, if we click the drop down menu on our colour palette here, we can see at the bottom I've got my cool colours. When I pick that, you can see I've got that sort of light blue to the dark green. I can assign the palette, click apply, and there we have. Now this probably isn't the best one. You can't really see the differences between them, so let's maybe change our office supplies to that darker one and our technology to the darkest. And now we can see that. So that's how you add a colour scheme into Tableau. Check out Coolors, it's a great website. And obviously if you have sort of company branding that you want to include, you can use those hex codes as well. Hopefully that helped. Please do leave a comment below if it did. Tell me what you used it for, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Cheers for watching.